this is really the second time this series where Montreal has looked like the better team. They looked like the better team in game two. And if not for an incredible goal by Blake Coleman at the end of the second period, that game is probably goes Montreal's way. But Tyler, they're able to extend, and maybe the Tampa Mayor touched the money a little bit, and we're going to see quite the comeback here. That'd be exciting.
Yes, it did look like last night Montreal, it seemed like they were just playing, without it's like they were playing with house money, I guess you could say. It seemed for the first time in the series, yeah, in game two, they looked better, but obviously the incredible goal by Coleman and then Tampa kind of controlled that third period, but they kind of just seemed like they were playing with so much more energy and so much more just like they were like, listen, we're down 3-0. You know the optics of that. It's going to be really tough to come back. Let's just go out and play our game. And they did. And for the first time in this series, Carey Price really like played like Carey Price, the Carey Price that we saw throughout the entire playoffs coming into the Stanley Cup final. Because if you want to point, there's a lot of reasons why the Canadiens are down 3-1 now, but if you wanted to point at one big one, it was the play of Carey Price, especially in game three. He was not nearly at the level that he needs to be. So he came out, he did what needed to be done last night. The Canadiens did what needed to be done, and they're taking it one game at a time. They were talking about that very extensively during the NBC broadcast. You can't, when you're down 3-0, you're not going to win 4 games in one game. You got to win one game at a time. You got to win one period at a time, and that's what the Canadiens did. I mean, when Shea Weber took that 4-minute penalty at the end there,
Oh,
I thought that was curtains. I was watching it with my dad, and we were like, yeah, this is probably not going to end well, especially the way that Tampa power play has been. But they killed that off, and credit to Josh Anderson. He had a great game last night when they needed him the most. And yeah, just keep it going one game at a time if you're Montreal.
they had 3 minutes of power play time to start overtime, and it was brutal.
Yeah,
Like
they
this
didn't
is the
give up
best. Like
much.
this is also the best penalty kill of the playoff. It was the best power play of the playoff, and they were brutal. I mean, they couldn't get it set up. They had one good flurry where Stamkos had that low angle shot, and then it bounced out in front, and Point was right in front, and he knocked it with his backhand. But even that wasn't a great chance, and they were just brutal. And yeah, Montreal locked it down in the power play. Josh Anderson with a heck of a play from coast to coast there, makes that play behind the net and finds the rebound and sends it to game five. And I mentioned the Tampa mayor. If you missed it, the mayor of Tampa Bay, she had a press conference for the 4th of July, or maybe it was about the hurricane. I don't really know what it was about originally, but um, somebody asked her about Tampa and the Lightning, and she said, yeah, well, it'd be great if basically she was like, let's have them lose tonight and so they can come back here and win the cup on home ice. It's like, oh, I don't know if I would go there.
No.
Hockey is a very superstitious sport.
Yes.
Maybe that's just me, being in this sport for my entire life. You don't want to jinx it, and it feels like she might have. So that would be very, very interesting if Tampa wins Game Five tomorrow.
Yes.
Excuse me, if Montreal wins Game Five tomorrow.
Then it would be full blown. The jinx is on if Montreal is able to win game 5. That would be, yeah, I saw that and I was like, I mean, on one hand, I do understand where she's coming from.
Oh, of course.
I'm sure, obviously the Tampa players wanted to win the cup last night, but, none of their family was there. It would have been a very odd celebration. So I'm sure they're not entirely disappointed that they have still 3 more chances to win the cup, 2 at home. But that's something I feel like you just don't say out loud.
We'll see how that goes because it feels like she is poking the bear of a very superstitious sport. And that certainly came to fruition yesterday on Twitter after she said that. I don't have any doubt that Tampa Bay is going to win the series. I don't have any reason to believe that they're not. I think that Montreal is a very good team that got to this point, and they deserve to win a game. And that's a great moment for their fans that nobody in that building who paid 5 digits to go is ever going to forget. And good for them, but I think that this thing is all but over at this point.
Yeah, I think Tampa probably takes it the next game. I mean, last night was the first night where, Tampa's star players weren't really at the best, but we saw the Tampa depth lines, the fourth and third lines, really coming out and producing goals and getting that game to overtime. So I think, yeah, just maybe a rare off game for Tampa's top guys. And yeah, Montreal, it would have been disappointing to see them get swept. And it's nice that they got that special overtime win in front of their fans. But I have no doubt in my mind, I feel like Tampa's just going to come out there and win game 5. And one thing I will say is Montreal started game 4 very slowly. I think shots were like 11-1 in the first 10 minutes. So I think Tampa's going to come out with a lot of juice in game 5. All right, we missed our first chance to win it. We don't want to go back to Montreal for a game 6. Let's get it done tonight. So I think they're going to come out with a lot of juice. And if Montreal is not ready for that and they have another sluggish start, I could see Tampa putting in multiple goals early and kind of I don't want to say making the game a rout, but I could see 10 minutes in, it's maybe 2, even 3-0 Tampa.
That's kind of what happened in game 3 too. It was 2-0 before you could blink your eyes. And I was like, oh, come on with this again. I mean, I don't know, and you can tell me because you're not in this position. I don't know if it's me like lamenting the fact that the Islanders should be having a parade next week. But this has been the most boring Stanley Cup final I can remember.
Yeah. I mean, a part of it too, we'd be lying if we said part of it is not that one stadium has 3,500 people in it. Like,
does it though?
Especially, I feel like, I mean, last night there were points in that game where I was like, wow, it is quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Granted, I think part of that might have been your team's down 3-0 in the Stanley Cup final, and it's in overtime. It's a little tense there. But, yeah, I mean, just the way that Montreal plays, too. I think Tampa is just a much better team, like skill-wise, really on all facets of the game. And for Montreal to win, they need to kind of do what they did last night, which is make it like a slower game, a little more low-scoring game, which it's not always the nicest to watch in terms of entertainment value.
Yeah, I'm very aware that that's not the nicest to watch over the last 3 years.
Yes, you would know.
It can't be one goal for the Stanley Cup final. Yeah, this is an interesting, I think I speak for a lot of Islander fans because I share fandom with a lot of Islanders. I'm not a Mets fan, I'm a Yankee fan, but share fandom. This is an interesting position for me to be in where, as we talked about it last time, the Jets were in the AFC Championship game, but to really feel like, wow, 2 years in a row, if we had won that, it feels like we would have coasted to a ring, especially this year, is a really interesting feeling. And I see people on Twitter like, oh, well, Islanders Lightning was clear of the Cup final. I was like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't think I would have said that about Islanders Lightning last year, that Dallas was just like a cakewalk, and Montreal provides a different kind of game than the Lightning do, and who knows if the Islanders would have matched up well with that because they didn't play all regular season. So although I did just say, I do think that they would have won, I'm not totally in love with people saying like, oh, well, the Islanders lost the Cup final. Like, no, they didn't. They lost the semifinal, and like until they play a game with the Cup patch on their jersey, they lost in that semifinal. That's just interesting to me because it's I think it's a lot of people in a very new situation where this team is one goal away from going to the Stanley Cup final. But that's that. And probably the next time we speak next week, this thing will be over, long over, and Tampa will be lifting their second consecutive cup, only the fourth time since the end of the Oilers dynasty. That it'll be 4 straight cups or 2 straight cups, excuse me. And Pat Maroon is looking to become the first. I thought that was interesting. The first player since the Islanders dynasty guys to win 3 straight Stanley Cups. He was on the 2019 Blues, and now he's been on the Lightning the last 2 years. So he's looking to become the first guy since 1983 to win 3 straight Stanley Cups, which is interesting. So,
and he's done it with multiple teams if they get it done. Which there is someone who's done that. I forget who it was, but it was in I think it was somebody with the Canadiens and Leafs back in the original 6 days. So it definitely has not been done in the modern salary cap era. Yeah,
very interesting. And it's like, who was that guy? Oh, LeGarrette Blount, that running back who was in the Super Bowl 87 consecutive years. Very LeGarrette Blount or Kyle Longish. Kyle Long, he was on the Eagles, wasn't he?
Chris Long was on the Eagles. Chris Long and LeGarrette Blount both went from
on that Eagles team
to the Eagles.
Yes. So I guess you see it in football more than you see it in hockey, but that's that for the Stanley Cup final, and we'll talk about the end of it next week and presumably another third Stanley Cup in Tampa Bay history.